I have the great privilege of serving a community, a company, and an industry I believe in, and in a city that I love. At heart, I remain a salesman married to a farmer's daughter at home in the vast fields of the Salinas Valley. In my day job, I live and breathe Radicchio as the president of Royal Rose. I oversee production, harvesting, negotiate processing contracts with companies such as Taylor Farms, Fresh Express, Dole, Ready Pack, to name a few. I race to keep up with food safety requirements, and I even do a little marketing. In fact, my first encounter with the new world of science and produce came up a few years ago when the whole topic of GMOs popped up. A chance reading of a Dave Barry column on GMOs set the stage for my current marketing effort to get Americans to eat their salads hot. In his column, Barry lamented the pursuit of GMOs to try and alter tomatoes and cantaloupes made no sense. He said that if he believed that if scientists wanted to pursue that type of research, they should instead focus on radicchio, which according to him in Italian translated means tastes so bad even a starving goat spits it out. I knew I had a marketing challenge after that, but my answer is hot salads, not GMOs. That is, of course, an altogether different discussion, one that illustrates science, technology, and agriculture have been together for a long time. I believe the skills that I have gained through my role as president of an agricultural company have helped make me an effective and attentive mayor. Likewise, being a mayor has shifted my perspective on our industry. I consider myself America's produce mayor because I am a working grower shipper and I am the past chair of the Central California Grower Shipper Association, which is essentially the policy and advocacy arm of the shipping community of the Salinas Valley. I chose the focus of fresher, bigger, better today because these seemingly simple concepts are foremost on the minds of producers and receivers and consumers every day. And I would like to propose that we look at these three elements from a slightly different perspective. Let's deliver fresher, grow bigger, and make the world better by leveraging our industry's innovative capacity to solve the world's greatest challenges. Every top-line trend in this country is geared towards healthy and fresh, two subjects that are getting a lot of play at this conference. I have spent most of my adult life in a town that lives and breathes fresh. Our local economy in Salinas is powered by a countywide $4 billion agricultural industry. That is the 28th largest crop report in the country and the 3rd or 4th largest in the state. But the reality is there is a nuance that makes the Salinas Valley what I like to refer to as the fresh nerve center of the world. In real terms, the Salinas Valley growers, shippers, and processing interests are controlling about 70 to 80%, give or take, of fresh commodity items and touching a like percentage of value-added processors through the same small group of companies I just mentioned. I also want to be clear that I am very deliberate in my use of the word fresh. I yield to the wheat, grain folks in the breadbasket when it comes to size. But when it comes to fresh, the Salinas Valley is without a doubt the global epicenter of the agricultural world because of the unique year-round oligarchic nature of the Salinas Valley. Like each of you, I am trying to find, advocate for, promote, and create a new future for our industry, for my city, our state, and this nation. My specific positions necessarily focus my energies and ideas on one valley, one region, and all of the folks who receive the goods and produce we create. The key to the Salinas Valley is that it has historically leveraged its unique soils. The phrase green gold that is so often used when referring to our area refers to the richest soils in the world, extending growing seasons and its business practice, and our business practices reach far beyond our physical size and boundaries. One of my favorite ways of describing this fresh nerve center's great prominence and potential is that we are the home of the world's first fresh appellation, a staggering natural environment that allows us to grow lettuce on a large scale, house 9 recognized wine appellations, and deliver our products across North America with ease. My wife's uncle's family represents a new breed of local growers that are just as likely to be growing and harvesting broccoli as they are bottling labels such as Tendre Chardonnay from the Santa Lucia Highlands. Many of our best winemakers are third or fourth generation farmers who have quietly turned Monterey County into one of the largest grape growing regions in the country that supplies even the revered Napa Valley. But a key part of this equation is the role technology has played and will play in our abilities to reap the astounding benefits inherent in this naturally rich agricultural region. Technology and innovation are the cornerstones of the Salinas Valley's agricultural prominence. We have never led on cost, but on value. We have combined the best of family farming with post-harvest efficiencies and innovation, from cooling to packaging, harvest technologies, and advanced farming techniques. The nexus of food and technology is where the major innovations, the great breakthroughs that will change the way we grow, eat, and live will most likely occur. This is where our produce is fresher, bigger, better, and where we are making a difference not only in the industry, but in society as a whole. Here again, Salinas' natural strengths and geography come into play. Our proximity to the world's leading innovation epicenter, the Silicon Valley, is changing the way we think and do business. And a newly seeded collaboration structure promises an accelerated ag tech explosion that could transform our region in a decade or less. Simply put, we are in the process of expanding Salinas' regional identity to include the Silicon Valley to the north, inviting mutual benefit through knowledge, sharing, and investment. This past April, Chris O'Brien, in a San Jose Mercury News business column, asked, "What is the Silicon Valley?" He noted the shift in the precise definition over time. Geographically, he noted John McLaughlin, president of the Santa Clara, now Silicon Valley Historical Association, who suggested that Monterey County should be included. John's right. As you Google to find the Silicon Valley, you get a map like this. The reality is the Salinas Valley is the fresh southwestern flank of the Silicon Valley. And good news, if you annex the Salinas Valley, you get an actual natural valley back, since the Valley of the Heart's Delight was paved over so many years ago. The serious side of this new reality is that our industry's challenges increasingly require innovation and new approaches to old challenges. They do require scale. We need bigger. And precision to meet the needs of food supply, food security, and food safety. Ideas and creativity are the heart of innovation. And to steal a phrase from a good friend of mine, to compete on cost is a race to the bottom. To compete on innovation is a race to the top. We are on a race to the top. But what does this race to the top look like at the nexus of food and technology? Fresher over the years has evolved from the top icing of rail cars in the early 1900s, which turned Salinas from a regional into a national player, to the introduction of Tektral technology that virtually every pallet of strawberries is shipped in, thanks to the former Bruce Church's company's acquisition of Whirlpool technology. Fresher are films that were introduced into the marketplace from companies such as DuPont and Landec, and are now evolving to include nanotechnology developments in films that will incorporate living organisms to kill pathogens such as E. coli. Innovation happens in our fields and processing facilities. It often looks a lot like Taylor Farms' innovative water jet romaine heart harvester that is more hygienic, gives you the right produce with less waste, improves shipping and storage efficiency, and lowers labor costs in the back of the house. But before our harvester hits the fields, we now face major regulatory challenges to address nitrates in both runoff and surface water. I can tell you that as I stand here today, that I am worried about the front end of the Yuma season because of excessive heat and rain a few months ago. But I cannot yet tell you exactly how new sensor and drone technology might tie in clean water, well monitoring, fertilizer application, weed detection, or animal encroachment in any of our fields. I do know our entire industry stands ready to work together. If you hang around produce folks, that's unusual. Together in a shared fashion on these issues, because the food chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Bigger matters because these are scale-based issues, and the vote is already in on the demand for better by both the public and policymakers. Food plus tech might take our industry into new sectors of the economy. New tech means innovations like figuring out how spinach could become a new source of power. Forbes magazine named Barry Bruce from the University of Tennessee one of the top 10 scientists in the coming century because he demonstrated that we can create energy from the photosynthesis of spinach. And in the Salinas Valley, we got lots of spinach. And then on a given day, you can hear growers whine and lament. We routinely do that. And the key here is, yes, we do know how to grow spinach, but we don't know how to scale that proposition up, how to convert the spinach or store and deliver the energy we might produce. This is where we need the Silicon Valley, and they need us. For those of you who think about energy storage and delivery, you might be interested to note that our valley is poised to facilitate a binational infrastructure dialogue from the Salinas Valley to the Bajío in Mexico, across Texas and through Florida, which it is not a bad place to start, seeding tech from north to south and west to east. We control the means of fresh production. We have the ability to extend growing seasons, coordinate logistics, push spinach to an 18-day growing cycle. We don't need a triple washing. We're not as concerned about cosmetics such as mildew. Those concerns simply cease to be an issue when we're growing energy instead of food. Growing energy can mean more mechanical harvesting becomes a greater possibility. Less inputs are required, and instead of cover crops with no value for field rotation, we may be able to rotate ground more beneficially for soil and bring crops to market. One of the reasons we like broccoli, which no longer has the market basis that it used to, is it's a great rotation crop. But nobody says it can't be a taller plant that we mechanically harvest for alternative uses. Whether it's spinach or broccoli, if it is grown for an alternative use, we don't care what it looks like. We can extend the growing season, and we can better utilize the very significant capital investments we make as an industry. So the possibilities of combining ag and tech are limitless. I of course, would be remiss as the president of a Radicchio company if I didn't put in a plug for inulin. All I need are the right extraction technologies. Both as a president of a Radicchio company and as a mayor, I am laser focused on building that road to the Silicon Valley, seeking out opportunities for collaboration and creativity. Recently, I took a former Palm executive on a tour of a local grower facility. The general manager showed us the data gathering necessary for traceability purposes. He explained that the challenge we face in ag is that we must gather the data, but we cannot pass through the cost. We are stuck here, baffled by the immense possibilities of an industry that is already gathering and managing a huge data load without being able to recoup the costs, much less create value. Our friend from the Silicon Valley immediately drew the connection to the Googles and the Yahoos of the world, who are in the business of gathering big data. For them, data has value. To the growers, data is a byproduct. Between traceability and regulatory demands on monitoring watering sample, we hold a huge amount of information. New demands exist, and the industry cannot afford to pass through those costs, nor can we afford to pass up the possibilities. Every major issue that you and I are worried about in our shared world of food, water quality, managing pathogens, maximizing freshness, taking product from field to fork requires our valley to harness the power of nanotechnologies, sensor technologies, transportation technologies, data monitoring, the list goes on. The issue of waste is increasingly sophisticated and enormously complex. And less waste to receivers will mean more efficiencies, better values, and even better products on the table. As a mayor, I would tell you that this moment, as unnerving and entirely complex as it is perfect for economic growth and diversification. The complexities facing the fresh sector of the agricultural industry present us with incredible opportunities. And if it only wasn't for the fact that it potentially raises my already too high growing costs $600 to $700 an acre. New regulatory and market demands require all of us in production agriculture to think bigger than our immediate surroundings. And I know with pride as the mayor from Salinas, you're going to hear from some pretty good folks. You heard one of them mentioned early. Ed Boudinot is terrific. Ocean Mist is terrific. They'll be in the house. Driscoll will be here. Gill Onions, some terrific companies, and I'd pay close attention to whatever they say because they are leading the way in North America from our neck of the woods. Bigger also means just what it says, how to increase yields and focus on new seed varieties. In a fresh world that is increasingly interested in taste, color, and yield, the seed companies are increasingly prominent. UC Davis has introduced a seed central research concept. Some companies are trying to introduce seed to fork programs that essentially mimic the very high-tech Intel inside. Some grower shippers, still stinging from the Dave Barry column, might just decide to grow a bigger radicchio that no longer lets Fresh Express look me in the eye with a straight face and even consider replacing radicchio in Italian salad with red cabbage because it's cheaper and it's bigger. That too is another discussion. Do not catch me alone unless you have 20 minutes on that one. I've taken it to the Italian consulate. We'll see where we go. As a grower, I am programmed to complain about things. As a mayor, I never do. But my whining here is really part of a broader point. It is my observation that technology in a vacuum, technology without market access will have little value and little chance of success. Our industry is at the forefront of concerns about climate change, carbon footprints, food safety, water quality, waste management, and energy use. And oh, by the way, we graze cattle over 1 million acres in Monterey County, which does matter when it comes to water quality, runoff. So the integration of livestock and fresh plays out on a scale basis every day in the Salinas Valley. There's innovation happening every day, and there's certainly more to be had. So with that in mind, that's where we get to the nitty-gritty of Salinas's big innovation play. We Salinians are in the process of building a new development model seeded by city government and led by private industry. Our model is composed of 4 pillars of development support: education, including training and advanced research; startup acceleration; investment; and corporate strategic engagement. Our Salinas-specific project will galvanize the region's agricultural industry, not only building local prosperity, but also cultivating a competitive industry focused on solving the world's food, water, and energy-related challenges. We will deploy innovation, advanced research, entrepreneurial drive, and venture investment to spur economic growth through precision agriculture expertise. We farmers know food, water, energy, and waste management. With the same venture investment and the innovative drive that built the Silicon Valley immediately north of Salinas, we will use our knowledge to move our industry forward and create an ag tech revolution that will educate our kids, create and restore jobs, bring prosperity to Salinas's gang-related neighborhoods, and we are calling this the Steinbeck Innovation Project. With this, we will deliver fresher, we will grow bigger, and in the process, we will grow our industry and our profits. But more importantly, we have the unique privilege of being on the leading edge of the movement to build a better world for generations to come. And I hope many of you will consider joining us. It's a play that will take the whole team. Thanks very much for your time.